Hello everyone, welcome back to the Glassgirls Network, and today, as you can see, we are joined by a very, very special guest making his Glassgirls Network debut. It's the infamous DG on Twitter. Give yourself a little introduction. Obviously, your boxing podcast. Give us a little introduction to yourself.
Yeah, so Jonathan, thanks for inviting me, Kieran yourself, to this podcast. Anybody that's seen my face down at the War Memorial, only go and watch the girls, don't go and watch the boys. For whatever reason, I'm locked fully in with the girls. Took about 2.5 years now. I think I've gone and watched the girls, but I have got a boxing podcast. It's called ROGERS Boxing. I don't want to promote it too much on there because this is about the Glassgirls. But we do sponsor Daisy Clements, Aid's daughter, best player in the team, because we sponsor her. So yeah, cracking it. Anybody who likes the boxing, whether they like Tyson Fury, Canelo, AJ, and anybody else, we have a weekly review show, weekly preview show, so jumping on that. But yeah, I'm here to talk about the Glassgirls. I'm here to talk about the Stourbridge Women with Kieran and with Jonathan, and I'm thankful for them asking me on. So yeah, thanks guys.
No problem. Yeah, 100%. Go and check that out. We'll probably leave a link in the description or something. But yeah, should we hop straight into it?
100%. Go for it.
Yeah. So the first bit of news, I suppose, it is a sad one. It's that Mill and Grace Rogers have departed the club to join Kidderminster Harriers, which is we've said it before. It's probably the best place that they could have gone for them. I think it's a lot of what Kiddie need from the bits that we've seen of them, and I think they fit into the squad and the dynamic and everything that's going on there. I think it works really well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's sad to see them go, and it makes you wonder, what's happened to get to this stage. And we can come up with a few ideas, and we can discuss that because we don't know the full account. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why they've ended up leaving, but it's a massive gain for Kidderminster Harriers. It really is. They've signed a very proven, prolific goal scorer, and you've signed probably one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in the area, especially in that age group. And them sisters, so it's great, isn't it? It's a great story that they've both stuck together. I appreciate they probably had to because of the car sharing at the moment, but I suppose there are other options as well. But yeah, let's just open it up a little bit then, because I'm sure a lot of people are asking about it. I probably had more personal messages about Mill leaving than any other player apart from when Daisy went to Albion. Right. I had so many questions saying, John, why is she gone? Why is she gone? Why Kiddie? Why is she leaving now? So I think it's just because everyone's talking about it. I think we do need to at least address it. So can you just open it up? What could possibly be like the reasons? Obviously she came back in the summer. For the beans, good to be back, but unfortunately it's not quite lasted, has it?
No, yeah, it's a shame. Obviously they both clearly love the club. We don't obviously know if this will be the last we ever see of them at Stourbridge. Hopefully not. But yeah, obviously we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. That obviously we've got a lot of attacking threat at the moment, obviously with one of the new players that we're going to talk about in a bit. Whether A just doesn't see them in the plans anymore, whether they think that taking a step down in Kidderminster may benefit them in the long term. It's hard to sort of predict and actually know what's going on without knowing the ins and outs of everything, but yeah, we obviously wish them all the best, and I'm sure they'll smash it because we remember Mill in Tier 5 herself, and she was an absolute handful to every defence she came up against. So I'm sure she'll absolutely smash it. And Grace, like you mentioned, one of the best up and coming talents in the area. So yeah, I only see them going from strength to strength really.
Mm-hmm. Yourself, pretty much the same.
Yeah, well, you two have had the privilege of watching them coming through the divisions, the good times as they call it. Obviously, Mill Rogers was a part of that. As I said there in the intro, I've only been coming for the last two and a bit years. Got to know Mill to a certain extent. Got to know her mother as well to a certain extent. That's the family sort of orientated part of the club. It will be a shame because she did leave and she came back and now she's gone again. I do believe this level for her, I believe that Mill Rogers is better than this level, so she will score goals. Yeah. She will benefit Kidderminster Harriers. If they get the ball to Mill Rogers in a 6-yard box, she will score goals. It's nice to see Grace Rogers as well coming into the team. Aid's obviously give her a new chance to come through. He's obviously a new manager, making a lot of signings, and he's obviously stayed with Grace Rogers to bring her through rather than let her go. So he's given her faith. He's put a lot of faith in her. But obviously we don't know, as you two just elaborated. We don't know the reason why they've left, but it will be a shame. Two of my favourite players, and I wish them all the best. And obviously, I do believe Mil Rogers will score a lot of goals in that division. I believe that she's too good for that division, and it will. I think I'll be proved right.
100%. Yeah, I think it's an interesting decision, isn't it? Because John, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, but when Mill left to join Boldmere, that was Aid who brought her in to the Boldmere setup as well.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Aid brought her back.
Yeah, Aid brought her back exactly. So whether he feels that something's gone wrong, or like we've said, these new additions, whether that just squeezes a bit more out of the first team. We don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is, because there's so many things, like people think that like she's left maybe on her own accord. Maybe the club has had something to do with it. Maybe A's got something to do with it. Maybe the fact that Grace wanted to move and they wanted to stick together. So there's so many different layers that you can look at it. But I think, like we say, I think we're all in agreement that she's a big loss. And in my opinion as well, we love that era, of the last 3 years, and she's like the last little nugget that was left.
Yeah.
In personality-wise, at least. That kind of represented that golden era, in my opinion, just in regards to personality, because you think of like in the clubhouse, the parties and all that kind of stuff that was now frowned upon, I guess. But like, we've still got players from that era, like your Rosie Embleys, your Lizzie Bennett-Stills and Meg Hadleys, but they weren't necessarily known as the party people at one Memorial Ground, whereas Mill was, and she's kind of like that last player, I guess, who kind of not just was a part of it, but she kind of led it, didn't she? That was nights out, and so I'll definitely miss that. But we are looking at, we'll see the Kiddy Minister having.
I think you're right about the clubhouse bit and whatnot. I won't elaborate too much into that. I think fans of Stourbridge Football Club, certainly the girls' side, will know what Mill's all about. But with the manager over at Kidderminster, Andy Fisher, he knows exactly what he's getting. He's not just getting a goal scorer, he's getting a grafter.
Mm-hmm.
And the X amount of games Mill Rogers has played for A. Clements, what he has got out of it is 100% effort. Has she scored the goals? No. Has she put 110% in? 100%. I've been to every home game this season and one away game, and she hasn't failed. She hasn't failed to produce in terms of 100% effort. So at this level that she's going down to, I expect her to rip it up. Definitely. Honestly, I expect Mill Rogers to rip it up. Good luck,
100%. I think we were saying as well that we think Kidderminster is definitely the ideal place for her to go, isn't it? Obviously, she knows Fish really, really well. Harry and loads of the girls that are there as well. To fit into that squad and bring the personality and also the ability, and I think it's just almost a match made in heaven for her really to go back there and hopefully rip up tier 5 again.
It's also about happiness. What do these players want? And hopefully Grace and Mill want to say, they can want different things, but they both ended up at the same club. So for example, as a wild example, Mill just might want to be happy playing football, and maybe she's not happy at Stourbridge or for whatever reason. So she's ended up at a place where she knows she's going to be happy. That's with Andy Fisher and some of the former players. And Grace might want more game time or game time at a lower league, and Kidderminster's the best choice, because I'm sure there was other options. I mean, we're not going to mention them here, but I'm sure there was other options where teams out there in tier 4 could have potentially wanted both of those players, but they've ended up going to Kiddy, which is nice.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure we'll be keeping a very, very keen eye on their development and Kiddy as a whole, because it's a really, really interesting project over there. But moving on, let's talk about some of these new additions that we've had in during sort of the last week or so. The first one, Rosie Axten, obviously a striker. John, you know a whole lot more about her footballing CV, so give us a little run through of that.
So first of all, I've been following her on Twitter for about 2 years, so that's how I kind of knew her. She always used to come up because she's quite active on social media, and she's played for some well-known clubs. And when someone's on social media, a lot to take you away anyway, don't they? Mm-hmm. I think what I've done is I've gone out there, as I always do, and asked Nottingham Forest fans, and I know a few very well-respected Nottingham Forest fans, and they both said that she's a good signing and that it will improve our current squad. So that's a good thing for Forest have got high standards there. Peterborough, I've got two fans that I spoke to, and they're all well-known fans. You can probably guess who they all are. And they both said that they was gutted not to have her as well. So, I think I'm hearing a lot more positive things and negative things. For me, on this one, I'm seeing a 27-year-old. I think she's 27, a lot more experienced, who can kind of nurture the younger players. I'm not expecting her to change the world in regards to scoring 10, 15 goals and suddenly miraculously shoots up the league. I'm not expecting that.
I am.
Although,
I am.
yeah, well, that's the thing. I think she will bring that kind of stuff, but I think she'll bring something a bit more in regards to leadership as well. Even not on purpose. I think maybe her attitude and like a previous tier 3 experience. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
So not just literally just in the game. I know just in general. But what I would say as well is, even though she was at Nottingham Forest, it was Forest of 2 or 3 years ago when they finished 5th and 6th in the league. So Forest have got better since then. The league's got harder since then. So this is why I'm not putting too much pressure on her for this reason. Just because she's been a Forest, let's not think, oh yeah, everything's sorted now. We've got a great player. We have got a great player, but let's not like put too much pressure on her, because it's going to take more than just one player to change everything.
Yeah.
Also, I played for Stoke, which is great. Played for Barnsley, Peterborough. I can't remember the other names that I've listed
Hemorrhaging
down.
experience, basically.
Yeah, which I think is something that we're lacking at this level, isn't it?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you first saw that we started another striker as well?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think the experience is key, really. As you say, we haven't got a lot of players with tier 3 experience. Sorry, I think it's only a handful that have played previously in this league. So to have someone that's been here and scored goals in the league, which is an area that we've been lacking on recently. Obviously, letting in goals against the tougher opposition can't really be helped, but if you can nick your goals here and there against your bigger sides, and especially against the smaller sides, we definitely need to be focusing on doing that. I think I think she's a smart signing. Obviously, like you say, being around a multitude of clubs, so she, as we keep saying, got that experience under her belt as well.
Let me open one up for DG, because that's still every know. We're not going to call him his real name. We're calling him DG. So
Roguelike Boxing Podcast.
For our sponsor of the
That's
day,
the promotion, yeah.
Let's because this is another thing that came into my head, and I've said this to another couple of fans who's not with me today. So you've got this new player coming in. She's going to want game time. As a striker. I want to see what impact this has across the whole team, and this is how I'm going to try and spin it, and then obviously you just give your thoughts on it, DG. So she's come in, she's going to want to start, hence why she's here. And you might have had to spend a bit of money in regards to travelling expenses, because I think she lives like Leicestershire away. So she's not come cheap in that sense. So she's going to play. You've got Leonie Joyce, who I'm sure doesn't need to be at this club. I know that she's had offers from other clubs, but she chose to stay here. You've got to give her game time. So you got Rosie there, you've got Leo there, you've got Daisy Clements on one side potentially, who's had a great...
potential's great.
Yeah, well this is the thing now. If you put Mill back in the day, Mill or a Shauna McCann-Lloyd or a Jess Hood on that side and put Daisy in the middle, then all of a sudden that affects your midfielders. So you can't play your 3 midfielders, you can only play Gwen, Rosie, which leaves Phoebe Hill out. It would have left Grace out. And then obviously I haven't even mentioned the striker that's not being able to play. Someone like Thea can't get in, so does she have to play at the back, or does Rosie have to play at the back, which means that Erin, Crystal, Sinead, Tilly, all of a sudden that this one person who's come in has got a knock-on effect across the whole squad. So let me just open that one up to you, DG. How do you think that's going to I think it's going to strengthen the squad, but there's a lot more options there, isn't there?
Has to be. AIDS obviously came in the summertime. He's been given a budget. He's not an idiot. He's been given a task to do. He's been able to bring in X amount of players. You've got to remember as well, from my point of view, you guys have seen the good days. You've seen the old players now win trophies, get up to tier 3, punching above their weight. Most of them now are Kidderminster Harriers. So now it's time for the new breed. And AIDS come in, he's brought all these amount of players. And I don't think yet he's actually knows where to play X amount of players in what certain position. He's still learning, but he's not an idiot. You can see the girls are giving 100% effort every game. Win, lose or draw, the effort's there from all the girls. You can see certain players are playing. I mean, I lost you there after Leonie Joyce, but the point of your argument is the striker that they've just brought in. If Leonie on the right and Daisy Clements, what I believe, should be on the left-hand side. That's my personal opinion, whether Aid agrees with me or not. I mean, she's played in the centre mid. She's scored an actual world against Bouldermere in the centre mid. So should she be playing in the centre mid? I don't know. You get the ball to the new striker Aiken in the 6-yard box with experience. Will she score goals? 100%. It's like Freya Clark. I believe Freya Clark starts small games. If she plays to her potential and she's in the 6-yard box, she's a big, powerful, strong striker. You get the balls across to her, we'll score goals. It's just getting the opportunities, getting the ball to her, getting the ball to the new striker, and getting and scoring the goals. And you know, what I mean, I'll go back to the. I want to say go back to the whole game because I haven't mentioned it yet. But the whole City game is pivotal to me. A team that's come up from a lower league. We played them. We dominated them in the first half. We dominated them in the second half. But we started far too slow in the first half, and we started far too slow in the second half, and that's why we lost 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
We was all over them. We were the better side. It's just bits and pieces we need to work on to get better. But your actual question, Jonathan, will that make a difference? If she's full of experience, she's going to score goals, she's going to make us better, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. We need to add quality, experience, class, goal scorers to our team. And as you talk about Mill Rogers there that's left, I'm a massive Mill Rogers fan. But if we can place Mill Rogers with Aiken, that will score goals in the 6-yard box, it's only a positive for me. It's only a positive.
Definitely.
And goals win games, fact.
100%. Yeah, and I think it's an interesting point where you mentioned about looking on previous games gone by. You know, so even some of the bigger teams, your Wolves and your Forest, we had chances. Obviously not many of them, but you know we had chances to score in those games. And if you've got someone with you know real goal scoring quality who's on the end of them to finish them and you know bring us a goal back when we're trailing, but you know still giving us a goal back to maybe flip momentum.
It's my debut on this podcast, but we've got so much pace in our team.
Mm-hmm.
Aid's got so much pace in that team.
Yeah.
How we capitalise it and use it is so beneficial. He's still learning, and I believe in Aid. And we will get. There'll be certain games that we'll get it right. There'll be certain games thinking, ain't nothing here.
Yeah.
We're going to see Daisy on the left, Leonie on the right. We're going to see Gwenny Esther. I made that one, by the way. You're going to get her in. You're going to get her on the.
I like the song up, Gwenny Esther.
But you're going to get her in the centre mid. She's going to push up. She's going to play the more Latisse role. She's going to be on the half turn, spreading balls. And you're thinking, how well did we play there? It's just clicked. Today's just clicked. Yeah. And it will come. I honestly believe it will come. We've got. Sorry to interrupt. We've got so much pace in that team.
No, I think it's a really interesting point that you say. Like, we're not going to get everything right. I don't know how many players came in during the summer together.
It was a lot.
It's got to be pushing 20, right? Like,
yeah.
So you know, to even what are we now, like 3 or 4 months into the season?
Yeah.
You know, there's no way that you can still have a full understanding of every single one of them players and how they all connect and how they click into what he wants to play. So, you know, if for example, you know, he's brought Mill in and he feels like actually maybe that's not the right decision. Let's swap her with Rosie. You know, more power to him to do that. To you know,
like
try.
You mentioned Freya Clark as well.
Exactly.
I think she gets left out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's really
power,
gone on
strength
there.
and style. I think she's a natural 6-yard box player. Get the ball into Freya Clark. I think she'll score us goals. I really do.
100%. We saw that against Boldmere. I think that's one of the best debuts I've seen from a Stourbridge player in a long time. So yeah, if we can play to her strengths, and I think it's good as well that we've got different players with different strengths. We haven't got strikers that are all the same or wingers that are all the same.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of different players who have, you know, very different attributes. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to think about how Aid's going to shape his team going forward.
I want to get into Aid a little bit more detail shortly because you kind of just touched on it there. So, but let's bring you back to something that you just said about regarding Gwen is there to like spray the balls, etc.
Yeah.
And it's not quite clicked yet.
No.
Could Demi Walker now, the new signing in the midfield, could she now be the person to kind of link some of this together? Mm-hmm. So we know Rosie Emily is probably going to continue to play because she's obviously
our
captain.
Can I ask you guys a question? Sorry to interrupt. Can I just go back regarding Rosie Emily? Would you say, you guys know a lot, you've seen a lot more than I have, would you say she's better as a central defender or CDM or an actual centre midfielder? Because I'm not sure what her best position is. You know she gets 100% every game. I'm not quite sure where her best... Where do you guys think she...
I think... to be fair, I'm not.
Centre somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not overly confident in saying either option really. I think it's in central defence. I think she obviously had the experience, but she was playing in potentially a weaker back line. You know, a back line that was up against it 9 times out of 10. Yeah. So I think it's easy to point the fingers and say, you know, that's not a great position for you. But I think in centre mid or defensive mid, whichever one you want to call it, I think she brings a lot of calmness to the midfield, a lot of calmness on the ball, and that's due to her, you know, previous experience in Tier 3 as well. So I think I would be inclined to say potentially go a sort of a central midfielder, defensive midfielder, rather than a centre half.
Yeah.
But
I asked that
yeah.
because if Jonathan mentioned about Demi Walker coming in now, so
Mm.
you've got Demi Walker, you've got Rosie, CDM, and you've got Gwen. Massive fan of Gwen. We all spoke when she played in the friendly games. We, tongue in cheek, we did call her Gwen Yester because, in my opinion, she's the best person on the ball. Her first touch is quality, and she looks at the pass.
Mm-hmm.
But recent games, to me, she's playing too deep.
Mm.
In the sense of she's playing against Wolves, she's going to Burnley, against Nottingham Forest. You can understand she's going to have to play deep. So they're attack teams. But you've got three people kind of in front of each other there. So when Demi Walker comes in, my question to you guys is where does she fit in? Because I want to see Gwen on the ball more, because I think she can spread the play. I think she can lay balls on. I think she can create a lot more than what she's doing at the moment. I think she's a great player.
I agree with you, Key, in regards to I would like to see Rosie continue to be a CDM. But I think it's also about partnership. So if she plays centre back, you've got to play with the right type of centre back. It's a proper partnership, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you play in the midfield, well, it's got to be the right type of midfield, and so I think you raise a good point. Could that now release Rosie to go as a centre back alongside maybe Tilly?
And push Gwen into that number 10 more.
Yeah.
More in front of goal rather than deep.
Again, it's the
against
option.
teams against her own level.
It's an option now, and obviously if you want to get Theo on the pitch as well. We've said in the past, Thea's best position is probably a CDM. So maybe that's the way to maybe that does open something up. It's another option, isn't it?
Yeah.
If Evan Griffiths isn't available as well, then you can definitely rotate it. I think it's definitely exciting.
There's options there, basically.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Because obviously it's not good you just always playing your best 11, because your best 11 isn't always going to beat a Wolves or a Derby or whoever. So you've got to kind of look at your opposition a little bit. So we talk about like having a strong 11, your best 11, and I do agree with that at times. I do. However, you've also got to look at your opponents at this level.
Yeah.
And you might think, okay, well on this occasion, Rosie might be better here, Rosie might be better there. I don't know, but I think we've got options now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think having a squad as well is so key at any level. I think one of the reasons for us why it didn't go amazingly against Hull is because we played the exact same team that we played against Boldmere, like 3 days before that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that was one of the downfalls that day. But so to have players that you can chop and change and not lose quality or even change up the style slightly due to formation changes and personnel changes. I think it's really important, an important part of a squad to have.
Two good signings. I think we have got that bit of experience there. Demi's not just someone who's played for Rugby Borough and it's like hardly ever played. I mean, she played 16 games in a side that finished top 3 last year in the South, in the National League South. So it's not like she never played. So she did get some game time last season. It wasn't the 27, 28 goals that every other player probably got, but she still played a good chunk of games. Rugby's obviously pushed on this season. We can see that, them absolutely battering some of these teams in Tier 3 North. She's moved to Solihull Moors, getting game time there as well. And yeah, there's two people that I know who've seen her at Solihull Moors and who know her from rugby, who says it again, it's added to your squad, it's improved the squad. So I think we've got to credit these two signings. I think it's probably just going to sign anyone. He's not just going to sign anyone just because they've got Tier 3 status. I think we've kind of seen that already. But I think these two are players that we can actually be positive about at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Do we know if she's available tomorrow? Obviously, I don't know when this is going out, but we've got Khalsa tomorrow. Is she available? Both girls available tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
If she's on FA full time, then she's available. We'll have a look after this. It's usually the way it works. I would have thought so.
Yeah.
I think it's been in the
Look out for the
pipeline.
comments, guys, on this. If we will win tomorrow against Khalsa.
Yeah. Shall we?
Let's dig into Aid then, because something that you mentioned there, Key, and I'm glad you did say, because it shows that you're thinking about it and not just me. So yeah, we said how much of a big job Aid had in the summer, and I think every one of us has said, look, he's got 19 new players to bed in, a coaching staff to bed in, and no reserve team to fall back on. So that's a huge task. He was never going to get 19 perfect players in one go. There's always going to be him looking at the players thinking, you're not quite what we want. There's always going to be some players, you know what, I'm not quite happy here. So that's always going to happen. It doesn't matter how good of a manager you are or how much of a good player you are. So what I've really been impressed with the last, I say 4 weeks when I kind of knew something was going to be happening, is he's not just sat there and thought to himself, oh, well, let's just see how we get on. Because if this was March and he knew what he needed back in October and he didn't do anything about it, that would have been on Aid, that would have been Aid's fault. But he's obviously seen what he needs, and he might have been forced upon him to some extent, but I actually think he's gone out there and thought to himself, no, this isn't quite working, I'm happy with 14 players out of 19 or whatever, and he's actually gone out there, he's looked at what he needs, and he's actually done something about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because for someone like me who is, my standards are up here when it comes to trying to, are we doing everything that we can possibly do on and off the pitch? Are we doing everything? He's kind of proved to me there that, yeah, he's not just sitting down. He's got his 19. He's probably not desperate in the summer, but we had to get a lot of players in. He's done that, fair play, and now he's looking at improving, isn't he?
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities in these two players coming in to when Lexi Harrison and Lois Jeffries signed for us. Obviously, very, very different circumstances in sort of how we were playing then, but those two players joined us during the Tier 4 season. Almost, we were in a brilliant position at the time. Those two came across the line to almost ensure that we were gonna go up as champions. This time around, we put ourselves in a good position, being where we are currently. Obviously, by no means saying that we're safe currently, but I think the addition of these two, obviously quality, experienced players coming in, does that help us almost shore up that we could be, safe from relegation potentially?
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. When you go back to Aid in the summer, we was all watching on Twitter, we was all watching on Instagram, wasn't we? We were kind of panicking. We were talking amongst each other. Nobody's come in yet. They haven't got. They didn't seem to have 11 players to start the season for the first game of the season. And all of a sudden, we were watching on Twitter. So we've got a new signing coming. We've got a new signing. Fantastic. Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, whatever. But I don't believe that Aid's sort of gone in blindfolded to say, right, we'll have her because she's done well in this league. I believe that he's educated enough. He's been around long enough. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants. He's got a team behind him that have got the same rhetoric. I mean, you look at Tilly Phantom. And what level? You guys are more educated than I am. What level was she playing last season?
Tier 4.
Tier 4.
She was Tier 4.
Yeah.
Now she's come in and she's ready made for Tier 3, if not above. She's been one of the standard. We could talk about the standout players from the season from the lower levels, but she's stand out. To get her to come in and fit in straight away at Tier 3, that barely makes a mistake, let's be honest. She's still, yes, we've lost games by big scores, but I've mentioned Nottingham Forest, I mentioned the Burnleys, I mentioned the Wolves. We don't expect to beat those sort of teams. No. But the performances they put in as individuals, I mentioned Tilly Phantom and a couple of the other girls as well that have come in from Tier 4, Tier 5, Tier 6, they've done really well. It's about the gelling. It's about the gelling together and the coming together and getting the right girls in the right positions. And I do, honestly, mate, I said it earlier and I'll keep repeating it. We'll get a game when it will come. It will come when we're not expected to beat some team, and we'll see Leo on the right, we'll see Daisy on the left, we'll see the new striker, we'll see Freya Clark up front, and then we'll score 3 or 4 goals and be like, how does that just happen? He's got it right now. He's worked out how to do it. Gwen's playing more forward. She's doing this, she's doing that. It's just gelled. We can go on and beat a Stoke. We can go on and beat a Derby. We can go on and beat a so-and-so. Yeah. So I do believe that what he's doing is working to an extent, but it's not a marathon. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
That's right, so it will come good. And obviously at the start of the season we had Stourbridge, we had Khalsa and we had Halifax, the 3 favourites to go down. And I believe we're in a good place. We've gone against Halifax, away from home, we've beat them. I expect us to beat them again at home. We've got Khalsa this Sunday, so early in the season, we're not even at Christmas yet, it's a 6-pointer. We need to beat them. And I do believe we can beat Hull away from home. I do believe, because you just said about the whole game, I believe that we started too slow in the first half, and I believe we started too slow in the second half, and that was our downfall.
Yeah,
there's so many points on the board that we can win, that we should be winning, and teams that are probably mid-table, top 4, top 5, that we can nick a point off. Just come together.
This is what we thought at the start of the season, just like nicking them points off your Derby, your Albion, your Feds.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just what we need. I still think Derby's there for the taking. We said at the start. 100%. We said at the start of the season it'll be Halifax who'll drop down, and Derby has had like a worse summer than the other teams as well. So Derby is actually below Hull, I think, unless it was changed in the last game, which I don't think it did. So Derby are there for the taking, aren't they?
I mean, sorry to interrupt, but the rugby game, did any of you guys go to the rugby game recently?
No.
Well, we lost. What was the score?
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Rugby,
Really, really
you've
good-
elaborated.
really good score.
They're smashing teams.
Yeah.
So for us to go away from home and lose 2-0 to a rugby side that looks like they're actually challenging to win that league,
100%.
along with Forest, along with Burnley, along with Wolves, to get beat only 2-0, the girls are getting something right.
Yeah, at the back.
Based on
yeah.
rugby scores, we should have probably got beat 5-6-0. So he's got a system in there. Yes, we conceded 2 goals, but we're doing something right to not concede 4, not concede 5. We are creating chances, we're just not scoring the goals at the moment. But
Yeah.
I believe in aid. I honestly do. I honestly do.
100%. You mentioned there, obviously, you spoke a lot about Tilly there being a
Yeah.
real standout. Who were some of the, obviously me and John have spoke billions of hours about the
You're
players that
elaborating to the
impressed us.
goalkeeper, aren't you?
Well,
Well,
anyone, go
It's-
for anyone.
Yeah, it's Harriet Grimshaw. Obviously, we Robodope Boxing Podcast sponsor Daisy Clements. Got no, I do. I've got a lot of love for her because we sponsor her for a reason. I do believe her best position is out left, but that's not for me to say. But Harriet Grimshaw, I mean, you guys, I keep saying you guys are more clued up to me. Who's Sheffield United's goalkeeper at the moment? Because there's going to be a game this season where we're 1-0 up or it's 1-1 and we nick a 2-1 and we've got 5 minutes to go. She's going to win a game for us. She's superb.
Mhm.
And I've never heard. And I've got to be honest. The Boldemere game you elaborated to earlier. Jonathan does comms for Radio Kev and things like that. I was listening live to that game, and I couldn't hear John. All I could hear was Harry in the background. Whatever she's saying is effective and it works.
Yeah.
She's such a good goalkeeper. Now, don't get me wrong. I've only been here 2.5 years compared to you guys. I've seen Jamie Lee Bamford and I've seen Amy Preston, both brilliant goalkeepers. But for Sheffield United to let go of Harriet Grimshaw is odd. Their goalkeeper must be England bound. I'm not being funny, I'm not being sarcastic, but she's such a great addition.
Yeah.
She's very young, she's not even built like a goalkeeper. She's very small, she's very sort of thin, but she's fantastic. She saves us so many times. When the score could have been 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, she's kept it down.
Yeah.
So we've got to be grateful to Harriet Grimshaw, what she brings and what she does, and I love her. She's probably my favourite player. The addition Aid's brought in, I think, is very well thought of. I think that the team's gone away and had a nosy, and they said, "Well, she's from Sheffield United. Does she mean she's good? Not really. Had a nosy at her. You know what? She's perfect for our team. I think she's brilliant. She's probably the standout. And I know you mentioned Tilly, but for me, Harriet Grimshaw, irrelevant to the score, she's my standout player at the moment. Even though I back to recall about Gwen earlier, was her first touch and a vision. But Harriet Grimshaw is brilliant.
100%. It feels like we're becoming
Yeah.
the Tilly Phantom and Harriet Grimshaw network over here, but
It's hard not to.
they're quality, aren't they?
I think it's not just us, so is it? Well, one, it's everyone on who messages us. 2, it's everyone at the War Memorial Ground. But also 3, it's our opposition as well, because the opposition's player of the match. It's
How
always
many times?
4
Harriet
or
won it?
5.
Yeah.
4 or 5. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so obviously you mentioned some of the players there. Let's talk a little bit about Khalsa then. So I'm not too sure when this is going to go out, before or after Khalsa. That's the team there. There we go. There's
Yeah, there
Khalsa's
they are.
badge.
The enemies for the weekend.
The lost change, hasn't it? It's the lost change since the last time we played them.
Yeah, I mean,
last game 2-2.
Yeah, down at ours. Yeah, there was a dubious penalty shout that day, from I believe, as well.
Yeah.
They were tough on that day as well.
Reminisce, because people who know this, who's been watching this channel for long enough, will remember. So it was a midweek game.
Under the lights.
Under the lights. Khalsa got there before we did. They set up their cones and everything before we even got to the ground.
Yeah.
And already I thought anger about, because Harry was a little bit, our old coach, he was a little bit like taken back by it. He wasn't happy. And I felt like he kind of shook us up a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to 1-0 up, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. And I went up to Megan Cadd after the game, because I spoke to Megan a lot on social media before that game. And I said, well done, you done a number on us. Even though it was 2-2, I think both teams was happy with that. But they just had our number in that game, didn't they? And I think it was such a great game. Liv Woolston used to play for them back then as well, so it was nice to finally meet her after singing her praises since she used to play for Tamworth. So, yeah, but you look at so much has changed, mainly for us, but like a lot has changed since then. We've got the experience in regards to Stourbridge. We've got the experience in Tier 3, but we've also got a lot of new additions. It's just, I think it's pretty much a 60-40 to us, if I'm honest. Some people might say 70-30, 80-20, but if I'm being honest, 60-40.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. Like you mentioned, it's changed so much for them. You know, the easy and centre of being and gone there in the time that we played them. So yeah,
Wow.
it's going to be tough.
Leo Joyce.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Go on the other way.
But yeah, we know it's going to be tough. We know what's at stake. There's no sort of hiding or denying what is at stake tomorrow. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've worded it as, and this isn't the be all and end all. It's not black and white, but for me, if you lose that game, it means that you have to win the reverse fixture, which is the penultimate game of the
At the very
season.
least.
Now, yeah, and I'm not saying that, like, people are like saying, oh, there's plenty of games out there. Yeah, there is. But based on what we've seen at the moment from both sides, I do think if you lose that game, then you have to win Khalsa away, or Khalsa will have to win us, whatever. You looking forward to it? I'm picking it.
Mate,
Yeah.
I'm picking it.
I don't know if this is going to age well because of how the pod's going to go out, but you just mentioned there Leonie Joyce. That's crucial. Her whole team. She's left Khalsa to come to us to better herself.
Set up perfectly.
She's not coming to us to get worse. She's coming to us to better herself. We are the established tier 3 side for whatever it's worth. As Jonathan said, we've had X amount of new players, but we are the tier 3 side. They're coming up. It's going to be our best game on Sunday. She's got something to prove. I have betted myself. I'm coming up against you, and I'm going to show you. Honestly, I believe it's like you said. It's not so much tongue in cheek as well. We have to beat this team. This is a 6-pointer here. We need to be beating the Khalsas. We need to be beating the Halifax. We need to take the points off your Stokes and the Derbies. If we're not going to do that, then we're looking at tier 4 again. The games will eventually run out. Yes, we're not up to Christmas yet, but when you get to Christmas, that's the time of year when you sort of know where things are going. Yes, we know we're going to be in a relegation battle, but we need to take points off a Sporting. Of a Khalsa. No disrespect to them, but we should be better than them.
This is what we're waiting for, and I thoroughly agree. Sorry to jump in, but I have to agree because this is what I've been saying. That the Forest ones, we're a fan channel, and like we say what we want to say on here. However, we have never slagged our team off for losing any game this season. It was a little bit disappointing against Hull because that was a game where you do look at, okay, well, Hull not newly promoted.
Especially how we dominated John as well. Especially in that whole. Sorry to interrupt, mate.
No,
especially in that parts in that whole game where we did dominate them, but we couldn't put the chances away. That was the most disappointing thing. But the Wretched was right.
Yeah.
We just started slowly, and that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. And that whole game was pivotal because we've got to play away from home, and hopefully we don't start the way we started against them at home because we can beat them. They're very beatable.
Yeah.
We scored 2 goals. Probably could have had about 22. I'm not being over the top as well, but they took their 4 chances and got them. They didn't do a lot more after that, did they? Let's be perfectly honest.
No. Yeah. I think. Yeah. That I want to say that whole game was a blip. Like
Major.
Yeah. So. We just hope, we have to hope that it's not one of those days for us, that we can, put a few decent moves together, a few strings of passes, and get a few goals, and hopefully just start well. I think that's what's killed us a lot of the time so far this season. Not starting well, it sets a precedent for the rest of the game and how you're going forward. And if your back's up against the wall from the 5th minute, it's always going to be tough, and your head might drop, and it's never looking good for you. So start well, potentially get a goal early on, and fingers crossed from there.
I think our secret weapon is these 2 new players because it means that we may play slightly differently. So, for example, if the Khalsa coaches, managers have been watching us, analysts, all this kind of stuff, if they've been scouting us, that kind of has gone out the window a little bit because we've now got 2 players who may start on the weekend as well, who may make us play completely differently. And I don't know that kind of detail. I don't know if that's right or if that's wrong. But if we are going to play differently now, all of a sudden we could catch them off guard and we can do something that they're not expecting. And I could be wrong, but I also think that, like you say, it's been fine margins at times. And if you can get that player to make that killer pass or to block a certain avenue to stop Khalsa scoring, because Khalsa have got a better goal scoring record than us. We've got a better defensive record, but Khalsa have scored against some very good teams. I'm sure I can't remember them all now, but Derby and Wolves and Rugby, I think, and one other big team, maybe Stoke, I can't remember. So they can score against these big clubs that we haven't been able to. However, we also got a better defensive record than them, hence why we're higher than them on the goal average. So there's just so much going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mentioned about Leo there playing against their old team. You've got Senna Robinson and you've got Neve Deasy playing against their old teams as well. So they might be wanting to make a point as well. But I mentioned about Tilly Phantom as well. I don't think Neve Deasy and Senna Robinson got a chance.
Well, them pair have gone.
But that's my bias. That's my Stourbridge bias, by the way. So if it's the other way round, if Senna was still at Stourbridge and Neve Deasy was still at Stourbridge and Tilly was at Khalsa, I'll be saying, send her on rings
Yeah.
around it all day.
That would have been the one. If them pair of both stayed, obviously they've both gone to different clubs now, but if them pair of both stayed, that would have been such a hostile. I would have give Neve a good warm welcome, and Senna, of course, when they come back. But then as soon as that minute kicked off, as soon as that first minute, it would have been like boo, jovial, very, and she would have expected it, I'm sure. But it's a shame that we didn't get to see that, to be fair, Neve and Senna coming back, because in my opinion, I would have given a round of applause when the names went out. But then as soon as that first whistle went, I would have
it's
done everything
it's
to put
weird,
them
isn't
off.
it? Because we've never really experienced much like that of teams. Maybe Lexi Harrison is the one
Halifax.
and Jamie as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one has really played against us that has been for us that much. I don't think.
No,
But,
not many players have left and left on a bad note either.
No,
The majority of them, yes, there's always going to be some sort of disappointment when they leave, hence why they've left. But generally, a lot of them have just left not too bad, so you wouldn't boo them as fans, and we're always grateful in what they've done. But it'll be interesting to see what reception Leon gets, especially if she's still with us when we play at Khalsa, in front of their home fans.
Or whoever they bring tomorrow as well.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, they're a local side. It's a derby, isn't it? So
that'll be in fans, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Yeah, we can just hope that everything goes nicely, and that we're sat at this time around a table at the War Memorial Ground, just hopefully drinking in
Do you
3
guys-
points.
do you guys sit on the fence in this podcast? Obviously, my podcast debuts, you guys know. Do you sit on the fence? Let's say
No,
swap
you-
prediction. Let's say
No,
swap
we can
prediction.
say.
Let's go for it.
3-0 Stour.
3-0 Stour.
The only
Wow.
Joyce scores 2 goals.
Who's the other one?
Gwen Esta.
Oh,
Iniesta,
Gwen
the
Iniesta.
first average goal.
On the half turn, on the 6-yard box, top corner. Said it.
Okay.
Go on, Kieran.
Oh.
Go on, Kieran. I've got mine. It's a positive one.
I
It's a
will
good one.
say 2-1 Stour.
Oh,
I think
that's what I was
it's
gonna
going to be close. I think it's really going to be close. I think Leo gets one.
Yeah.
I think
Just have an old
if she plays, I think Rosie's going to get one as well.
Well,
Hopefully.
Instant impact on no pressure, Rosie, but yeah, I think it's like you say, it's something that they might not be expecting.
Yeah,
I think it
that'll
could
be
hit them
something.
as a surprise potentially.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think Khalsa might know. Well, Khalsa will know of Rosie, but not in this team. I'm very similar to you, Key. I think Khalsa can score. Why can't they score against other clubs? So I'm going to throw a one in there for Khalsa. And then, I'm even bored if I say the same as you. But I'm going to say the same as you. And I'm also going to say Leo. But my other goal scorer then will be Rosie Embley free kick.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
there we go.
Free
There we
kick
go.
or
It's not
penalty,
different.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Set piece specialist.
So I think,
Set piece,
look, we've got every reason to be positive, and look, it's going to be very doom and gloom if we don't win. In my opinion, I'm going to be like there. I'm going to be like thinking, oh my god, what's going to happen next? But like you said, I still think that we're getting better, and the games could run out. And I really hope. And when you said a sprint, not a marathon, not a sprint, I just hope that the marathon still ends this season, and it's not like a 24-month plan, and it's a 12-month plan. Because if it is, then we have to be better than Khalsa and Hull and Halifax, in my opinion. But it all comes down to this game, as it is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We got Hull after Christmas away, so that's another potential. It's going to be hard, of course. It's going to be hard.
It's winnable.
It's winnable.
Going
isn't
by
it?
the home game, it's winnable. It's very
Yeah.
winnable.
Yeah.
And I'll stand by what I say. We just started so slow. If Aid can get it right, where we start quick, there's no reason why we can't beat them away from home. We had so many chances, just couldn't put them away.
It's not all over if we lose it, but it just puts like extra pressure on, doesn't it?
Nah, 100%. Yeah, like we always say that there's many games to get points from, but you're not going to get many more chances to get points than Khalsa at home. It's as we say, it's not a be all and end all to the season, but it makes it very uncomfortable for us. So yeah, I think we all know that. The good thing is we all know that we're not disillusioned to think that we're not disillusioned to think that this is a walk in the park, or that
Let's be blunt about it. It's a game we expect to win. We have to win.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we have to win. To give ourselves the best opportunity, obviously we have to win. So
Get a breathing space as well.
100%.
Hopefully that Halifax lose as well.
And then they lose. Obviously they'll be thinking the exact same thing about
Exactly.
us. So they lose.
Yeah.
Their heads potentially drop. They start losing a few
Who
more
knows?
points that they shouldn't be losing, and we'll see where it goes from there. Obviously, yeah, I'm nervous to say the least. Yeah.
I've texted like 3 people today saying I'm bricking it, and like they've all come back quite positive. These people, they've all no, everything will be fine. But I think it's just because it's been on our mind ever since the first game of the season, really.
Yeah.
Yes, Halifax and Hull came first, but the way the season's gone, this game has been built up for us fans who obviously want to win, want to stay in Tier 3. We just know how important this game is, and I'm sure the players and manager and the club did as well. But like, it is, and it's hard because you don't want to put so much pressure on the players. But on the flip side, like you say, Khalsa are going through this as well, and Khalsa have got what we had last season, newly promoted team that want to stay up, so they've got a point to prove. So it's not going to be just because they're like towards the bottom of the league. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But what you say, I agree. It's winnable, and it has to be winnable because we can't lower our standards to. Oh, it's okay. It's only Khalsa. We can't go down that route. You know, it's not right, is it? So,
and also,
so
lads,
much going on.
We can't rely, even if we lose this, which touch wood we don't lose this. We can't rely on Khalsa and Halifax to keep losing week after week after week, because they won't. There will be games where they pick up points and we lose, and it will drag us back into those bottom 2.
Yeah,
definitely.
So we have to win.
Yeah. We have to win. That is the message. So
no pressure, Ray. No pressure, girls.
Yeah. Well, obviously they've already seen this by the time it goes out. We could be eating our words, but hopefully not. Hopefully not.
There's no egg on faces here.
No, we've got the faith in all the girls. Yeah, we're going to go out there and absolutely smash Khalsa.
I think that's a great way to end the show. We've got faith in the girls because we've seen this team. They've tried the hardest every game, and we've not been disappointed. Not one of us have ever turned around and says that player's not trying hard enough. That player's not trying hard enough. We know that they're trying hard. So hopefully, like you says, something just needs to click, and this is the perfect game for it to click.
Yeah.
We'll catch them off guard because we've got 2 new players, and Khalsa's ability is less than Wolves' ability and Rugby's ability.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect game where it can click at home. They've had a couple of weeks to kind of prepare for it. Bring it on.
Bring it on, yeah, and that's where we'll end it. DG, thank you for joining us on your first Glassgirls Network podcast. Hopefully, see you back on here for plenty more in the future. Yeah, we'll see you all later. Happy Halloween.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.